Hey, stories of the Soul fam. We've got a swoon-worthy love story for you today. Let's jump in and tell us, what cities are Alina Rivera stared at the departure board in disbelief, her camera bag slipping from her shoulder as she read the devastating news. Flight 847 to Paris, cancelled. The words blurred through her tears as months of planning crumbled in an instant. This assignment with National Geographic was supposed to change everything. Her dream of photographing the lavender fields of Provence, the ancient castles, the romantic streets where light danced differently than anywhere else in the world. No, she whispered, frantically approaching the gate agent who looked as exhausted as Alina felt. The storm outside raged against the terminal windows, nature itself seeming to conspire against her carefully laid plans. I'm sorry, miss. All flights to Europe are grounded for at least 12 hours, the agent explained with practiced sympathy. We can reschedule you for tomorrow evening. Tomorrow would be too late. The magazine had given her a tight deadline, and she'd spent her last savings on this trip. Alina sank into a nearby chair, her shoulders shaking as the weight of disappointment crashed over her. She'd been so close to proving herself, so close to the career breakthrough that would justify all the sacrifices she'd made. "Excuse me, are you all right?" The voice was deep, warm, and concerned. Alina looked up to find a man in an expensive suit standing nearby, holding 2 coffee cups. His dark hair was slightly disheveled, and his blue eyes held genuine worry. He was handsome in a way that seemed almost unfair, like he'd stepped out of a magazine himself. "I'm fine," Alina lied, wiping her eyes quickly. "Just having my entire future fall apart in gate B7. Nothing dramatic." Vincent Kane had been watching her from across the waiting area for the past 10 minutes. He'd noticed her earlier at security, the way she carefully protected her camera equipment, the excited energy she radiated. Now she looked shattered, and something in his chest tightened, seeing her pain. "Paris flight?" he asked gently, settling into the chair beside her without invitation but somehow making it feel natural rather than intrusive. Alina nodded, accepting the coffee he offered. "You too, London, actually. But all European flights are grounded." Vincent studied her profile as she stared out at the storm. "Important trip?" "The most important of my life," Alina admitted. "Something about this stranger's presence, making honesty feel safe. I'm a photographer. This was my shot with National Geographic. My chance to finally prove I belong in that world." Vincent felt something shift inside his chest. He recognized that hunger, that desperate need to prove oneself worthy of dreams that seemed impossibly large. "What kind of photography? Travel, culture, stories that need telling?" Alina's voice grew stronger as she spoke about her passion. "I want to capture the moments that remind people why the world is beautiful, why it's worth protecting and exploring." For the next hour, they talked. Vincent learned that Alina had grown up in a small Texas town, that she'd saved for 2 years for this opportunity. She carried her grandmother's vintage camera as a good luck charm. Alina discovered that Vincent had built his tech empire from a college dorm room, that success felt hollow when you had no one to share it with, that he'd been traveling constantly trying to fill a void he couldn't name. "What if I told you this cancellation might be the best thing that ever happened to you?" Vincent asked suddenly, his eyes meeting hers with an intensity that made her heart skip. Alina laughed, but it wasn't dismissive. "I'd say you either crazy or about to make me an offer I queue and refuse." Vincent smiled, and for the first time in years, it reached his eyes completely. As the hours passed, Alina found herself forgetting about her canceled flight entirely. Vincent had a way of listening that made her feel like the only person in the crowded terminal. When she mentioned her struggle to get galleries to take her work seriously, he didn't offer empty platitudes. Instead, he pulled out his phone and showed her the art collection in his corporate headquarters. "I've been looking for someone to document our conservation projects around the world," Vincent said, his voice careful but hopeful. "Someone who understands that technology and nature aren't enemies. That progress can be beautiful too." Alina's heart raced. This wasn't just a job offer. It was everything she'd dreamed of and more. Travel, purpose, unlimited resources, and the backing of one of the world's most innovative companies. "You don't even know my work," she protested weakly. "I know you," Vincent replied simply. "I know how your eyes light up when you talk about capturing the perfect moment. I know you spent 3 months learning the migration patterns of monarch butterflies just to get one shot. That tells me everything about your work. The announcement crackled overhead that flights were beginning to resume. Elena's Paris flight would board in 2 hours. The dream assignment she'd planned for was still there, waiting. But so was Vincent, offering something unexpected and thrilling. "Come with me," Vincent said, standing and extending his hand. "Not to London, not to Paris. Come home with me. Let me show you what we're building. Give us 30 days, and if you're not convinced this is where you belong, I'll personally ensure you get that National Geographic assignment and 10 more like it." Alina stared at his outstretched hand, mind spinning. This was crazy. She barely knew him. Something deep inside her, the same instinct that had guided her to capture her best photographs, whispered that this moment was more important than any flight. "What if this is a mistake?" she asked, her voice barely audible over the airport noise. "What if it's not?" Vincent countered, his eyes never leaving hers. Alina thought about her grandmother's words. "Mia, the best adventures begin when you stop planning them and start living them." She reached into her camera bag, pulled out her grandmother's vintage camera, and for the first time in years, she didn't think about the shot she might miss. Instead, she thought about the story she might create. "Okay," she whispered. Then louder, with growing confidence, "Okay." Vincent's smile transformed his entire face as Alina placed her hand in his. She felt something she'd never experienced before, the absolute certainty that her journey had unended at the airport. It had finally, truly begun. They walked away from the departure gate together, leaving behind the carefully planned life Alina had known for an adventure neither of them could have imagined. The storm outside was clearing, and through the terminal windows, the first rays of sunset painted everything in golden light.